hello, if there's anyone there. So I'm stealing 242's idea. She was recording her own lines, so I was like, hey, I could live stream that too. I guarantee I'm not nearly as interesting as her though. Hello, if there's anyone there. All right, let's get this started here. Oh, hey, someone's actually here. Hi, Rex. That's amazing. It's always shocking when anyone shows even a slight amount of interest towards me. That's a sign of a high self-esteem. Okay, let's get this started. I was in Boy Scouts when I was a kid, and it was one of the high points of my life. I made hundreds of memories hanging around my friends and going to scout camps. However, there was this one camp out that has made me scared of the supernatural and has haunted me ever since. At first, when we got to the scout camp, I was so excited to see that they had a lake with all sorts of boats such as kayaks and canoes. But the scoutmaster said we couldn't go into the water until the camp was all set up, and everyone had to turn in their physicals to the scout first aid director. My friends and I quickly turned in our physicals and put up our tent as fast as we could. It was sloppy looking, but hey, we were teenagers at the time. We walked over to the dock and wrote down on a clipboard that we are taking a canoe and a kayak. Charlie wanted to use the kayak because, in his words, it made him feel fast. Charlie was a little overweight and always wanted to go fast, so he took every chance he got. Jim and I took the Caillou out together. That's one person I don't want to think about anymore. Caillou. He's already infected my mind too much. Hey, look, a couple more people. Hi, PA. Hi, Mr. Creepshow. This is just me being cool. A sugar mom. I have a regular mom, but she's not my mom, though. I have a wife. That's what those are called, I think. Jim and I took the canoe out together because Jim was younger than Charlie and I and still didn't know how to swim. So I took him under my wing and treated him like a younger brother. We paddled out to where a stick was pointing out of the water. Charlie grabbed the top of it and tried to pull it out, but it didn't budge. Charlie grabbed the top of it and tried to pull it out, but it didn't budge, so he soon gave up on it. We continued to mess around it. Guys, check this out, Charlie said as he paddled as fast as he could in the kayak and tried to whirl around on a dime. Oh, crap! He screamed as the whole kayak capsized and he splashed into the water. Jim and I started laughing our heads off, and I said with tears in my eyes, Hey Jim, who am I? Oh guys, check this out, I said mockingly. Charlie was laughing along with us and responded while swimming over to our canoe. If you think it's so funny, why don't you guys come join me? He then grabbed the side of the boat and tried to tip us. Stop it, Charlie, don't do that. I read it wrong. Stop it, Charlie, don't do it, Jim said in a terrified voice while holding on to the sides of the... Jim said in a terrified... What is that? That's not even a word. Your ex, I just got lucky. I've been with my current wife for 13 years and I'm 28. So I got really lucky. I found someone in high school and she hasn't left me yet. So I've been doing pretty good so far. PA, it's about kids going camping, like teenagers going camping. So it kind of, I think the voice fits. Plus, he's kind of like a scared guy, so I think it works. Jim said in a terrified... God damn it, I did it again. Oh, God. Jim said in a terrified voice while holding onto the sides of the canoe like a cat. Charlie didn't listen and jumped up on the side of the canoe and it... Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Charlie didn't listen and jumped up on the side of the canoe and it, like the kayak, toppled over. The water was cold, but it wasn't terrible. However, Jim was freaking out, trying to tip the canoe right side up. One of the capstaff was on... Capstaff. Gonna bust a cap in your ass. Troll away, PA. At the end of the day, I'm the one getting the watch time. I have a very inefficient setup here. I basically when the script is on the screen, I can't see the chat at all. So I basically have to walk over and basically what I've been doing is every time I make a mistake, I go over and check the chat. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but I don't know what it is. Hey, creepy clown girl. Oh, of course, PA. I mean, trolling is what I do. If you ever have a stream, I guarantee I'll show up and just mess shit up as much as I can. Ever since I've been on Tomb Talk, I've been like obsessed with these live streams. I just keep getting in them. It's like I was scared of them before, and then right after Tomb Talk, it's just like, oh wait, they're actually not that scary. So now I want to do them 24/7. I actually forget where I was. Where was I? There was I. Alright, so... One of the camp staff was on the dock and heard Jim cries. One of the camp staff was on the dock and heard Jim's cries, and she suddenly got into a canoe and began to paddle towards us. Before she got to us, Charlie started splashing around. Okay, I gotta say that differently. Before she got to us, Charlie started splashing around. "What's wrong with you?" I asked as I held onto the canoe. "Something brushed up next to my leg and it feels like my leg is on fire," Charlie said as he treaded water, trying to keep his head afloat. "That's strange," I said as I became scared of what could be lurking under... I said as I became what? I said as I became scared of what could be lurking under us. The camp staff pulled up beside us and helped Jim into her canoe. She then helped us turn our canoe right side up, and Charlie was able to get back into his kayak. While she helped us, the camp staff said, "You know, you guys should have waited before coming out here." This is where my girl voice comes, and it's not really a girl voice. It's just me being super breathy. Oh yeah, CCG. Yeah, it really was fun. I expect it to be super stressful, but nah. But then again, I have an anxiety disorder. Everything's super stressful for me. But it ended up actually not being stressful at all. You know, you guys should have waited before coming out here unsupervised by an adult. Also, you guys don't have life jackets on, and that's really stupid, especially for the kid who can't swim. After hearing this, Jim looked down and his cheeks turned a bright red. You know, we were just excited to play on the lake, I said while fiddling with the canoe paddle's handle. Well, you can do plenty of that later, but for now, you all should head out to the fire pit. They're greeting all the new campers there, and also are going to kill you all. They're greeting all the new campers there, and also are telling some local urban legends. I don't know why she got so excited there for a second. And also are telling some local urban legends, the camp staff said as she led us back to the dock. So after we put the canoe and kayak away, we began to get dressed. But as we were changing, Charlie comes up to me and says while holding up his pants leg, "What does this look like to you?" I examined his leg and it was not good, and responded saying, "Well, that's awfully strange looking, Charlie. It looks like someone who was missing a finger branded you with their handprint. It looks burned into your skin." That's the same thing I thought when I looked at it. That's the same thing I thought when... What? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Everyone, don't panic, everyone. I read the sentence right in my mind. That's the same thing I thought it looked like, too. I got it from whatever brushed up against my leg in the lake. And it itches real bad. Charlie said as he tried to keep himself from scratching. I'm glad whatever touched you didn't touch me, 'cause that sucker looks like it hurts," Jim said from across the tent. The scoutmaster overheard our discussion and said interruptingly... Interruptingly? Is that a real word? Hold! Hold it! I feel like Phoenix Wright. Is that a real word? Interruptedly. Nope. Not that I can see. Ah, well. Well, that's what the author wrote, so that's what I'm saying. Interruptingly. Oh, nope, never mind. False alarm. It is a real word. Okay, everyone can relax now. Oh, would you look at that? You got in an argument with a coffee table. I love those arguments. However, I always win. As soon as the table hurts me, I hurt it. That is disappointing. I mean, that's usually the first thing I resort to is burning down my entire house whenever I stub my toe. I've gone through a couple houses, but I still have the same toe. The scoutmaster overheard our discussion and said interruptingly outside of our tent, "Boys, you all better hurry up and make it down to the fire pit on time with the rest of the troop, or we won't be in the running to receive the spirit... the spirit stick? Okay. Or we won't be in the running to receive the spirit stick at the end of the week. I'm heading down there right now, so don't be too far behind me." "Yes, sir," we all replied, and as the scoutmaster walked off, I said, "Who even wants that spirit stick anyway? It's just a stick with junk on it from other troops." Scoutmasters like to have something to brag about, Scoutmasters like to have something to brag about their troop when they meet other scoutmasters, Charlie said with a chuckle. Oh, I didn't have a chuckle. God damn it. I made Charlie look so stern there. Scoutmasters like to have something to brag about on their troop when they meet other scoutmasters, Charlie said with a chuckle. We best be on our way, Jim said as he unzipped the temp. Jim said as he unzipped the tent and crawled out. We followed behind him and all walked speedily down through the fire pit. That's where we saw the rest of our troop on the front log closest to the fire. I then thought to myself, annoyed, of course Jake, our patrol leader, would choose the front log out of all the other logs to sit on. That idiot always has to be in the spotlight, doesn't he? He's nothing more than a stuck-up rich mommy's boy. Before we were able to sit down with the rest of our troop, Jake walked up to us. Before we were able to sit down with the rest of our troop, Jake walked up to the three of us and says, "You're all late. I want our troop to look good so we can win that spirit stick at the end of the week, and you imbeciles aren't going to mess it up for me." The scoutmaster then chimed in. "Now, son, that's no way to talk to your fellow scouts. Apologize to them right this instant." "Dad, stay out of this. I'm teaching these slackers a lesson on what it means to be in my troop." Jake said, looking at his dad, who then, like a dog with its tail in between its legs, backed off. It was sort of awkward because of the voices I'm choosing for these people. It is becoming a little awkward here. It was sort of awkward because all of the other troops were behind us, sitting on logs, and could probably hear the conversation. What? Don't get your panties in what? Is that some sort of Ewok language? What does in what mean? Well, PA, that's exactly what I was going for, because the character is kind of an annoying piece of crap, so I'll consider that a success if it makes you want to punch me. Thank you very much, creepy clown girl. Apparently my cat doesn't like listening to me yell. Can't imagine why. It just says don't get your panties in what? I'm pretty sure it's a typo, but I don't know what it's a typo for. In a bunch, maybe? Don't get your panties wet? I don't know. I'm just going to replace it with in a bunch, because I think it matches the context. Don't get your panties in a bunch. You're not our mom, so... You're not our mom, so get her... You're not our mom, so get off our backs. Gotta redo that one. You're not our mom, so get off our backs, I said, sternly annoyed at Jake, who stood in front of where we were trying to sit down. I'm the patrol leader here, so yeah, I'm your mom while we were at camp, he said in a whiny tone. See, look, PA, whiny tone. I think I got it. You were only voted patrol leader because no one else wanted to be it, and your dad is the scoutmaster, I said as I walked past him and sat down on the log with Jim and Charlie. Jake looked at us, and he noticed all of the people that sat behind us looking back at him, and he got embarrassed and sat down, but not... I'm going to redo that one. Jake looked at us, and he noticed all of the people that sat behind us looking back at him, and he got embarrassed and sat down, but not before he gave us a dirty look. Soon, all of the camp staff gathered on the other side of the fire pit and welcomed us to the camp. The staff were then introduced, and all of them seemed pretty young except for the camp director and the head cook. The head cook looked like he had been working here for ages and had grayish hair and a thick, bushy mustache. I also noticed that he was missing the ring finger on his right hand. I leaned over to Charlie and said, "Oh, okay. I see what's going on here." I leaned over to Charlie and said jokingly, "Look, he's missing a ring finger just like the handprint on your leg. Maybe he's the one, who put on a Scooby-Dooby-Doo. The one who put on a scuba diving suit on and tried to get handsy with you in the lake." Jim chuckled, but Charlie replied unamused. "It's not funny, Nick. This thing stings pretty badly." If it hurts that much, you should get it checked out by the camp doctor, Jim chimed in. Yeah, I'll see if it gets better tonight, but not... No. Yeah, I'll see if it gets better tonight, but if not, I'll see what they think it is, Charlie said as he gently placed his hand over the burn mark on his leg. Shh! You guys need to shut up and pay attention, Jake whispered harshly at us. I stuck my tongue at him and made a goofy face, and Jim saw what I was doing and joined me. Ugh, you guys are so immature. What is this voice? Hello, Gina Junio. This is just me recording my lines and just kind of chilling out. Don't get your panties in an uproar. How can you tell? I mean, you're probably right. But, you know, if I changed it, I'd have to go back and edit more, and editing is terrible. I'm not quite sure what you're getting at there, PA, that you want to give me something that hurts in my butt. I don't really know what to say to that. So I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so I'm gonna re-record that last line there. Shh! You guys need to shut up and pay attention, Jake whispered harshly at us. I stuck my tongue at him and made a goofy face, and Jim saw what I was doing and joined me. Ugh, you guys are so immature, Jake stated while shaking his head. It was around this time that the camp director said, All right, before we let you guys go settle in bed tonight, we're going to have Reggie here tell you a local urban legend. The director then backed up while letting the camp cook come to the front. Of course that hairy man's name is Reggie. It fits him so perfectly. I muttered jokingly to my friends, this character is a little bit of a snot. Like, oh my god. Chill out. Reggie is taking time. He's the camp cook. He's not the storyteller. He's taking time out of his day to come tell you a spooky story, and then you're dunking on his name. It's a pretty normal name, quite frankly. I don't even know what this kid's problem is. Not only that, but his friends are laughing at it, apparently. His friends are dicks, too. We laughed, and the man began to talk in a scratchy but somewhat surprisingly smooth voice, saying, The story I'm about to tell you was told to me by someone who had great-grandparents that grew up in a town not so far from here. The place was an old mining town, but as soon as the mines were shut down, everyone moved away, so now it's abandoned. Anyway, the story originates far before the mines ever were opened, back when the Native Americans roamed this land freely. The story goes on that in a tribe there was a man and a woman who loved each other more than the moon loved the stars. The moon doesn't actually have any emotions. This story isn't very scientific. Oh, that sounded vaguely like Jake. Hey, Sans. I do appreciate you pointing it out, creepy clown girl. I'm just lazy. I'll know that for next time. Panties in an uproar. The Roast of Silver, PA being the only participant. Sans, I hope you're not expecting too much. I'm just recording my lines here. And, I'm the dancing monkey up here for a little while. Okay. The story goes that in a tribe there was a man and a woman who loved each other more than the man in the moon. Who loved each other more than the moon loved the stars, as it was said. However, there was another man in the tribe who was envious of them, and he wanted to be with that woman. So he devised a plan, and he killed the man by pushing him off of a cliff into a lake while on a hunting expedition. Reggie paused briefly to try and add emphasis to his words. Well, when the woman found out about his death, she was in a state of immense mourning, and vowed to never take another lover. When the man found out about this, he grew enraged because no matter what he tried, she would not love him. So the only way he thought he could be saved from the guilt that he felt every time he saw her mourning face was to put her out of her misery. So, in the dark of the night, he kidnapped her and took her to a lake. He paddled a canoe out to the middle and threw her body into the water. She, however, fought back and tried to grab onto the side of the canoe. The man took out his knife and stabbed at her hands so she would let go. While he did this, he cut off her ring finger, and she fell off into the water and drowned. The man left, not knowing that the finger was still inside the boat, and it's how his tribe found out that he had killed her. Now it is said that she haunts the lake, mourning for her lover to save her, and looking for her lost ring finger. Reggie stopped and looked at all of us. Reggie stopped and looked at all of us, and his face lost all expression. And he said, ba, 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 ba. And I said, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. Hope I don't get copyrighted by Arthur. I think 99% of the amusements that I have is at my own expense. I'm pretty good at that. Never go to the far end of the lake. And I'm not joking with any of you about this. This could mean the difference between life and death. I say it again. Do not go to the far end of the lake. I marked it with a stick poking out of the water, which I anchored to the lake's floor so you guys know where not to go. The story goes that if you disturb where her body rests, she will mark you. That marking is of her hand with the missing middle finger, and if you do not appease her spirit, she will come after you in 4 days since you were marked, and drag you to the bottom of the lake during the night." No one said anything, and there was a deadly silence, and nothing but the crackling of the fire made a sound. After hearing this, Jim and I looked at Charlie, who was stiller than a statue. My blood ran cold, thinking about the elephant in the room. Man, I would love if there was actually an elephant there. I think that would be a good tone breaker there. Jim then broke the silence as he mumbled, "Wasn't there a stick where we played in the lake yesterday? Damn it. Wasn't there a steak? Maybe I'm just hungry. I don't know. Wasn't there a stick where we played in the lake today?" Charlie looked at us trembling and said, "Yeah. I tried to pull it out, if you guys remember. This is really scary, and I'm not even joking around here." I then tried to cheer Charlie up by saying, "This is probably just a prank. He's trying to play on us." "If it is, he went overboard by burning this handprint into my leg," Charlie said as he gazed at the red mark. The camp director then took over again and wished everyone a fun camp experience, and they sent us off to our campfire. And wished everyone a fun camp experience, and they sent us off to our campsites. We soon went to bed, and as we were falling asleep, I whispered to Charlie, "Reggie did say that she would take you to the bottom of the lake if you did not appease her. Maybe there's a way to appease her somehow." "Hopefully," Charlie said worryingly. "Hey, Ryan." You're right, PA. How do you sit stiller than a statue? That's kind of like one of those the saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Or at least that's what it reminds me of. Oh, and spoiler, the answer is yes. Discuss. Or don't. I'm just saying bullshit. We then all hunkered down for the night, and none of us slept very well. Okay, I'm going to do that again. We then all hunkered down for the night, and none of us slept very well. We woke up early the next morning to go and see if Reggie could tell us any more about how to get rid of the mark on Charlie's leg. As we walked over there, Charlie said to us after examining his leg, "Hey, guys, one of the fingers have disappeared. It's not marked on my leg." God damn it. My body decided that was a perfect time to yawn. "Hey, guys, one of the fingers have disappeared. It's not marked on my leg anymore." Well, that's a good sign. Maybe Reggie will help you be able to get the whole thing off, I said as we walked along. So we got to a small, creaky cabin, and Jim knocked on the door, and we all heard a grumbly voice say, "Who's there?" come from within. "We need help, sir. We got a problem," I responded back. Reggie replied, somewhat annoyed. Take it up with the camp director. It's not my job to deal with your problems. This is Charlie. It's pretty serious, sir. Charlie chimed in as he rolled up his pants leg. Reggie opened the door and looked at us through the screen and said, Now what's so serious enough that a cook needs to get... He stopped as he noticed the mark on Charlie's leg. When did you get that? He asked intensely. Was that intense enough? I don't know. I think I'll go more intense with it. Let's see if I can keep the same voice and go more intense. When did you get that? When did you get that? Oh boy, okay. When did you get that? I'm sure one of those takes will be fine. He asked intensely as he ushered us into the dingy cabin. Yesterday afternoon, right? This is Charlie. I gotta read it in their correct voices. Yesterday afternoon, right before we went to the campfire pit, we were just playing out in the lake, Charlie said very concerningly. Next to the stick poking out of the water. Oh, that's Reggie saying that. Oh, okay. Next to the stick poking out of the water, I warned you all to stay away from. Next to the stick pointing out of the water. Next to the stick pointing out of the water. Not pointing, God. Motherfucker. Next to the stick poking out of the water, I warned you all to stay away from. Reggie asked as he looked through some old drawers. Yeah, but it was before we knew about your warning. Charlie responded with his hands deep in his pockets. Reggie pulled an old wrinkly piece of paper out of the drawer on the shelf and handed it to Charlie, saying, There's only one way to appease her. There's only one way to appease her, but you have to have the guts to go through with it. How do you know so much about her? I asked as Charlie grabbed the piece of paper from him. Reggie lifted his hand up, and he was missing a ring finger as we had noticed earlier at the campfire, and he said, Because I was in the same case as he is. The only way to save your life is to cut off your ring finger, then sail a boat to where she supposedly lies, and say that poem that I just gave you word for word. And then you drop your finger into the water, and whatever you do, do not look down as it sinks. Just paddle back to the dock calmly. If she accepts your offering, the mark on your leg will disappear completely. Also, let me see that mark quickly. Charlie got closer to him and propped up his leg on a wooden chair. Reggie examined it and said, Okay. Remember what I said to you before you had 4 days till she comes and gets you? I feel like I didn't do his voice that well enough there. Okay. Remember when I said you had 4 days until she comes and gets you? Yeah. Charlie responded questioningly. What is with these weird adjectives? I realize I hate my own voice every time I record, Ryan. It's really unfortunate. People say that I'm decent at this, though, so I keep doing it. Yeah, Charlie responded questioningly. Well, you have 3 days left. Well, you have 3 days left now because one of the fingers has already faded off. When all of them disappear is when she comes for you, Reggie said as he looked Charlie straight in the eyes. What if we just drive far away from here? I asked, wondering if there was any other way so Charlie wouldn't have to cut off his finger. No, it doesn't work. She'll search the entire world until she finds someone who bears her mark. She's a ring wraith. That's actually kind of cool. Reggie said as he led us out of his cabin. Look, I'm sorry for you, but there's no other way to make this right than to follow the steps I've given you. Than to follow the steps I've shown you. Now, if you don't mind, I have to go help make breakfast. See, now, this guy, he has his priorities straight. He knows that breakfast is far more important than the life of a child who went swimming in a lake. Quite frankly, I'd make the same decision. That being said, I should probably never be a parent. Hey, Nero Mater. PA, I don't appreciate that sass. Like, apparently, you must love me because you keep coming back. I see complicated words as a challenge. That is true, PA. He then locked the cabin door and left us on the porch as he speedily headed to the dining hall. I can't cut off my own finger. I don't have the strength to do that. Charlie mumbled to himself as we head... Oh, okay. Charlie mumbled to himself with his head drooping down. You know what? That Reggie guy is probably crazy for all we know. Let's just ignore it, and if she comes down to get you, Jim... Jim and I will be there to beat her up. Oh, yeah, two weenie teenagers. That makes me feel so much safer. Thanks, guys. I said with a half-hearted chuckle, knowing that this did not look good. You're right, Nick. If I only have 4 days left, then it's great to be spending them with you guys. Charlie stated happily, trying to hold back the fear hiding inside of him. Yeah, that's where you want to spend your last days, with a couple snotty teenagers that laugh at people's names. That's the spirit now, Charlie. Let's go eat breakfast and then complete some more merit badge requirements. That'll keep your mind off of it, I said as we walked into the dining hall. Yeah, because merit badges don't do much if you're dead. I mean, they don't really do much anyway, but especially not if you're dead. So we went to our different marriage badge stations throughout the day until we all met up for dinner at the dining hall, and Jake was there walking around showing everyone in our troop that he had played near the stick that we were supposed to avoid, and that he got marked. Have you guys ever read something and just phased out halfway through the sentence and not even really hear what you're saying? That just happened to me there. I don't even know what that sentence was about. probably because the sentence is like a mile long. So we went up to our different marriage badge stations throughout the day until we all met up for dinner at the dining hall. And Jake was there, walking around showing everyone in our troop that he had played near the stick that we were supposed to avoid and that he got marked by the girl. He soon came over to us, and though he didn't like us that much, he never gave up an opportunity to gloat. So he came up and said, "Hey guys, look, I got marked by that girl, and I'm not even scared. I bet this whole so-called urban legend is fake." The three of us looked at the mark that he had on his arm, but it was not the same as Charlie's. It was like the discount version of it. I just replied, "Cool. Cool." I'm not saying an adequate cool here. I just replied, "Cool," trying not to get into a fight with him or to prolong the conversation. Jake then walked off, all proudly acting like he got our respect. I said, my intonations were off there. Jake then walked off, all proudly acting like he got our respect. So what, did he just put makeup on to make it look like he got marked? So what, did he just put makeup on to make it look like he got marked? I asked Charlie and Jim. I guess so. He probably got it from his mom. I guess so. He probably got it from his mom, Jim replied while laughing. However, Charlie did not seem amused. All this had done was remind him of his dark fate if he did not offer up his ring finger. We finished eating, and the next day another finger imprint disappeared. And the same thing with the day that followed, until it was the last day until she was supposed to come. The whole day Reggie kept glancing over at Charlie while he was trying to eat, wondering if he was going to do it. Jake was still going around and acting all tough with his attention-seeking fake mark. Soon, the day turned dark, and Charlie's time began to dwindle down. We used our pocket knives to sharpen sticks, even if the leader told us not to. We were going to use them to defend our tent, and if she wanted to take Charlie, she would have to take all three of us. So that night, everyone was settled down in their beds, but not us. We were prepared for her to unzip the tent and try to grab Charlie. The wind that night was howling, and the trees were being shaken like a dog. I just wanted to say it before I die. I love you guys, Charlie said with tears in his eyes, knowing that he wasn't going to last much longer. Right back at you, and hey, everything is going to turn out fine. That guy might be crazy for all we know, I replied, trying to keep Charlie's spirits up and also to take my mind off of what soon was going to happen. Guys, look, Jim replied with a quivering voice as he was looking through a crack in the tent zipper. We could all hear someone weeping outside of the tent, and it mixed with the wind, which turned it into a howl. What do you see? I responded hesitantly, not really wanting to know, but needing to know what it was. It's a blackish figure wearing a brown sack looking type clothes. I think it's her. Her skin is so pale and she's sopping wet, Jim described as he began to shake in fear. Charlie was on the verge of crying, but I put my hand over his mouth and calmed him down. Is she coming in our direction? Charlie asked in a shaky, trembling voice. Sort of. Sort of. She's heading to someone else's tent. She's looking inside of it. Now she's going to the next one and doing the same thing. She's looking for whoever has the mark. Hey, Nick, come and take over watching her. I can't stare at that hideous, distorted thing anymore. I guess I can do that, but stay close to Charlie, I responded. But as soon as I did, we heard screaming coming from one of the other tents. Someone must have seen her, I said. As I quickly looked through the crack to see what was happening. And as soon as I did, I saw Jake on the ground outside of his tent. Hey, didn't Jake have that fake mark that he put on himself? Charlie asked with a hint of eagerness. Yeah, he did have that on his arm, I replied, wondering if she mistook Jake's mark for Charlie's. We then all heard him scream out for help, and I looked closer, and I couldn't see the girl, but Jake was there. And he was scared as a cornered animal. The girl let out a wretched, high-pitched scream that made all of our blood run cold. Everyone in the entire camp could probably hear it, and I looked away out of fear. I quickly looked back, and Jake was gone. All that was left was her morning cries that grew fainter and fainter until they were lost in the wind. The wind settled down to where nothing could be heard outside of the camp. It was just a dead silence. No matter how hard they searched, they never found Jake's body, and his dad quit being the scoutmaster after that. Also the I'd say goodbye to Neuromoder, but I suspect that he left a while ago. Hi, mutant artificial intelligence. Fake Jake did make a big mistake. Also, the summer camp had to be shut down for a while after the incident, but has since reopened. Charlie, Jim, and I are still great friends. And to this day, we can't believe what went down that night. We never told a soul what we saw because we were afraid of people calling us crazy. Since then, I have always wondered what other urban legends are real, just like this one. But I guess you can only know if you've experienced them firsthand. All I can say is don't test their limits, or you might find yourself being dragged out of your tent in the middle of the night. Okay, I gotta read that with a little bit more finality there. All I can say is don't test their limits, or you might find yourself being dragged out of your tent in the middle of the night. Well, that was the whole story there. I probably could read another one if I was feeling dangerous. There we go. This is where having your mic stand set up, in a standing position affects my ability to talk to anybody. Because it's like 3 feet away from my face. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, I guess I could try. I doubt you guys will be able to hear me all that well, though. Okay, PA. All right, PA. I guess I have to read another one then, just because you said that. Yeah, that's basically what I would do now. I recorded it all in Audacity, and now I'm gonna go back and take out all the mistakes. And I didn't stop recording whenever I was talking to the chat, so now I have all that to take out. This is my first time live streaming it, so it's gonna. There's some stuff to learn there. I know from this point that I'm not gonna record me talking to the chat anymore. Lupus. There we go. King story. Wow, I recorded for an hour for that. Time goes by so fast on these live streams when you're the one that's streaming. I've never liked actually watching live streams because I found like it goes by super slowly. But my stream is amazing. Thanks for being here, guys. Yeah, PA. I used to do that too. I basically used to go sentence by sentence, but I find it's a lot. It feels a lot smoother for me to just do all the recording all at once, because then I don't have to keep stopping every 2 seconds. Whereas before I would just kind of keep yanking myself out of the story. Plus I have my recording set up so that I'm, like I said before, so that I'm standing when I'm reading. So if I was to stop between every sentence, I'd have to walk to my computer each time. And you might think, okay, we'll set it up so that you're not standing, but I prefer reading while I'm standing because it allows me to move and be more expressive with myself. Oh, hey, that's if you like listening to live streams, great. And then you're in the right place because this is a stream and it's live. I just personally, I've never really been into it. I don't. I think it's because I kind of had the thought that all live streams were basically Let's Plays, and I don't like watching Let's Plays. Just because I would much rather play the game than watch someone else play it. But I do realize that there are other ones, like the Toon Talk I was on Sunday, which I think I'm actually going to watch more of now, because now that I've been on it, it's like I'm kind of invested in their show now. I'm like, hey, I kind of want to see where that goes. Also, right, it's the same thing for Writer's Block. Yeah, and that works. That works too in PA. Whatever floats your boat, man. I definitely can see the appeal in it because it's just kind of, chill, relaxing, and interacting with the chat. Like, I see the appeal. I just don't usually participate in that. Oh yeah, the one we did yesterday was super fun. And it turned out really, really. The turnout for that show was actually a lot bigger than I expected. But I'm glad that you and 42 were there to kind of help guide it a bit, keep me on track. Okay, so what story am I going to read? I'll just read the story that I'm actually going to be posting on Friday. Yeah, I'm not even posting that story on Friday. Isn't that bananas? Okay. Google. That is true. That is true, PA. But it was good that you were there. You brought energy. You brought energy to the stream. I'm a pretty chill person, so I was worried that there wouldn't be much energy on there. But you and 42 both have a lot more energy than me, so it balanced out really nicely. What's going on here? Here we go. There we go. I miss. I'm a good person. I can't furnish a girl. Do not steal from the woman. Okay. Which one did I send to her to read? I think it was this one, actually. What is that? There we go. Please hold while I find the story that I'm supposed to be reading. Nope. Not that one. Okay. I robbed a house last night. I'm a good person. It's easy to snippety snap. Does anyone remember this story? Okay. Well, hey, sometimes streams just need a lot of chaos in their life. Okay, what's going on here? When I was on Toon Talk, I was talking a lot about wanting to kill my neighbors. Well, yeah, that's just one of the reasons. Is what you just said there. What story did I... There we go. I got this, guys. I swear. I'm not as organized as 42 is. I've got to find my crap. Usually it's not a problem, though. Okay. Jesus. I got this, boys. Okay, perfect. Found it. Finally. Apparently this story is considered not safe for work, boys. So, you know, just you be prepared. This might get a little raunchy. .42 isn't the only one that can read softcore stuff. I've never read something like that before. Maybe it'll be my gift. Okay. 42 is here. Hi, 42. Yeah, I moved on to the second story, and I couldn't find it, so I spent a bunch of time trying to find it. I'm not as organized as you are, 42. Sometimes I gotta find stuff, and usually that's not a problem because it's not live streaming. But it be what it be. Okay. So let's start this wonderful story that's not safe for work. Wait, well, first I have to press the record button. That'll probably help me a lot. I don't want a repeat of just not recording my story. Oh, an 8-year-old girl's voice. Oh, perfect. The exact voice I'm perfectly built for. Daddy, I think there's a man in the house. Daddy, I think there's a man in the house. Hi. Okay. My wife is not in the room right now. Just letting you guys know, my wife is definitely not in here. The mic is really sensitive, so if you speak, it'll probably pick you up. Just saying.
Nobody heard that because I'm redacted.
My wife is redacted, everyone. So anything you just heard, you didn't actually hear. Okay. Daddy, I think there's a man in the house. Nothing can chill your bones like the terrified voice of an 8-year-old girl uttering that phrase in the middle of the night. The raw fear in her voice was real, and and it was contagious. I stepped back, then leaned into the frame of her darkened room. What makes you think that? What makes you think that? Her breaths came out in short gasps. I heard footsteps downstairs in the kitchen after you and Mommy went to bed. I'm pretty sure I saw fleshlight beams. That's a type of thing she should not be seeing. They need to put their shit away. Or I guess the dad does. I heard footsteps downstairs in the kitchen after you and Mommy went to bed. I'm pretty sure I saw flashlight beams coming through the hallway. I brought my panic down. That was me. That was me. I gotta quit it out with the I shouldn't be going for ASMR here. That was me, I breathed, facing the direction that her voice came out of the dark. I woke up to use the bathroom, noticed that the light switch didn't work, and had to find the circuit breaker downstairs with a flashlight. I didn't mean to scare you. When she spoke again, her voice had lost the raw edge of terror. But childhood fear can't be erased so easily, and that evolutionary adaptation is the only reason we're all here. Daddy, how are you so brave in the dark? Shit. Kids ask the hardest fucking questions. I took a deep breath and tried to draw on my best paternal instincts. You want to know a secret? I asked tentatively. Yes, please. The saddest, sweetest voice. Okay. Here comes my saddest, sweetest voice. Yes, please. She asked in the saddest, sweetest voice. Okay, I'll tell you. But you have to promise to go to sleep right afterward. Deal? She sighed audibly. Yes, I promise. I cleared my throat. Good. Well, then here it is. Grown-ups aren't brave in the dark. We're all scared, just like everyone else. But we learn how to act like we're not afraid. So what's imaginary for one person becomes real for another. God damn it. I have to wait for my wife to stop crinkling. What are you doing over there? Are you moving?
I have to cook now.
Okay. You're supposed to stand entirely still for at least 2-3 hours. I just bugged you. Hey, the dark side of M. This is just me. This is what it sounds like before I edit everything. It's just a bunch of nonsense garbage. Ugh, 42 left. How could you do that to me? That's upsetting. Okay, I'm just going to start all from the beginning there. Good. Well then, here it is. Grown-ups aren't brave in the dark. We're all scared, just like everyone else. But we learn to act like we're not afraid. So what's imaginary for one person becomes real for another. Dads can be brave for their little girls because they believe it to be true. And sometimes that's enough. Silence. Good night, I whispered, walking out the door. I headed down the hallway, heart still beating from her first words. Even when the supposed danger has passed, nothing can scare us like the memory of frightened children. Evolutionary traits, I suppose. I opened the master bedroom door and shut it quietly behind me. I checked my watch. I'd been gone 19 minutes and 30 seconds, but the scene hadn't changed. The expressions on the faces of the bound and gagged couple on the floor reflected the exact same terror that I'd heard from their daughter's voice. Your kid is observant, I noted with a hint of admiration. Oh, I should probably rephrase that a little. Your kid is observant, I noted with a hint of admiration. They both moaned through the gags, bucking fruitlessly against the thick ropes. Don't worry, she's asleep. I'll deal with her after I'm done with you. And my search of your kitchen was a success. I called out triumphantly. They froze upon seeing what was in my hand. Why so glum? I asked sadly. Oh, okay. Why so glum? I asked sadly. We're just getting started. They fought hard, but unsuccessfully, as I sat down on the man's chest and lifted his t-shirt. Look, pal, I'll be honest. You're in for a very long night, but it will be slightly less painful if you just cooperate. Now hold still. His wife moaned in the purest agony I've ever heard as I used their electric carving knife to slice a wide, half-inch thick fillet of skin. Fillet? Come on, I'm Canadian. I should know how to say that word. His wife moaned in the purest agony I've ever heard as I used their electric carving knife to slice a wide, half-inch thick fillet of skin from his sternum to his navel. The sweet, juicy sound of tearing flesh was so intoxicating that the world spiraled away in a sensual feast of human agony. The sound of a pumping shotgun brought me crashing back. I slowly turned around and nearly laughed at what I saw. You should put that gun down, little girl, I whispered, raising the knife. Someone could get hurt. Oh, crap, I have to make her sound angry now. You're half right. Or, you're half right. Damn it, okay. You're half right, she snapped back. Then she pulled the trigger. The human body is capable of experiencing more pain than most people have any concept of categorizing. As the... What? Oh, okay, I know what happened. Well, basically, like, whenever I copy-paste text into this teleprompter program, it takes out all the spaces in between the sentences. So sometimes it'll jump from one paragraph to another, and I won't know because there's no space. So it makes it seem like stuff just randomly happens. So basically, this is a whole new paragraph I just started, and yeah. I got lost. I didn't know what was happening in the scene anymore. Hi, 42. I did mention earlier that you left, and I tried to guilt trip you pretty hard, but you weren't around to hear it. How can I guilt trip you if you're not around? 42, you haven't said hi to PA. You're hurting his feelings. You're killing him. Look at him. He has a straight line face. Except she's not actually. Well, according to the participants thing, at least, you're not actually there. You're not actually there. And by your, I mean 42. Okay, start again. The human body is capable of experiencing more pain than most people have any concept of categorizing. As the woman pressed a hot iron down on my stump, the entire world faded. Daddy, what? What? Oh, God. Okay, I have to repaste the story, I guess. As the woman pressed a hot iron down on my stump, the entire world faded into hurt and white. I'm actually getting this part read by Beautiful Nightmares, so I'll read it anyway, just so that you know what's happening. But I'm not going to try that hard. Shut the fuck up, she hissed. My husband is in surgery while I'm down here with you in my basement. Do you have any idea how stressful that is? She bent down to examine my cauterized arm. You won't bleed out from this. She smiled unhappily. You'll be here for a long, long time, friend. I tried to move, but the chains were wrapped several times around each limb. I wasn't going anywhere. The little girl stepped behind her mother and embraced her in a hug. I did good, Mommy? The woman ran her fingers through her daughter's frizzy hair. You did very good, sweetie, she answered. Now, this man needs to be punished, so we're going to have him write a confession about how sorry he is, and we're going to share that with everyone. She glared at me. Understood? I struggled to breathe. I'll write whatever you want. Whatever you want. Even if I have just one good hand. The little girl clapped with glee. Then what happens, Mommy? She looked down at the tools on her table. An egg beater, several rusty thumbtacks, pliers, dental floss, anal lube, and tiny, tiny scissors. She nodded. What happens then, sweetie, is that our new friend stays with us for a very, very long time. She picked up the egg beater. You'd better pray that my husband survives surgery. What is going on here? Oh, okay, I know what happened. Oh, that was actually the last line. She picked up the egg beater. You'd better pray that my husband survives surgery. In fact, I don't know why I redid her line. That's Beautiful Nightmare's job. It's not my fault, PA. She, like, well, actually it is. I'm sorry. Oh, 42 was here, and now she's leaving again. Stop cock teasing me, 42. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm done reading anyway, 42. I was about to end it anyway. All right, guys. Well, thanks for showing up, for watching me mess up my lines many, many times. Gotta actually end the recording there. Honestly, you stayed pretty much the entire time, PA. You're a trooper. You even stayed through like the 10 minutes of almost complete silence. That's pretty good. You're dedicated. And thanks also to you, mutant artificial intelligence there. And I'm pretty sure you guys are the only ones here. Yep, absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this. You guys have a great night. I'll probably end up talking to you on Discord anyway. So this isn't even a real goodbye. I'm just saying that I'm ending the stream now. All right, thanks for being here, guys.